Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me again. This is eBay made me cancel part one of this two-part series. So you guys saw part two. It's up there right now. Part one is missing, so I came back early this morning. We're kind of gonna reshoot part one briefly, and hopefully you guys can tie the two pieces together. Let me just give you a tour of the workbench layout and the stuff I use, stuff I'm using on this project. Kind of give you guys can start connecting the pieces in case you guys want to go down this route and attempt to do this on one of your projects. But if you do, I do recommend you guys check out professional model makers here on YouTube that do an excellent job at explaining and tutorials as far as weathering is concerned. I guess I follow those guys all the time religiously. That's where I learn everything I can. But I'm doing it here in practice on the workbench on camera for you guys. So if it inspires you or you guys want to see how you can carry over the tutorial parts and carry it over to an actual build from, let's say, amateur in terms of weathering with weathering products like me, then and let my hands do what you would be doing to inspire you to do it on your models down the road, then welcome aboard. Check it out. This video is not going to be for everybody. It's going to be kind of long and boring, but hopefully it'll inspire you to work on your projects as well. So pretty much in this shot here, you're seeing the oils that I do use. We're not going to use the oils on the dump bed, or at least what we're doing right now underneath the dump bed. We do use them on the sides though. In terms of painting the side of the body, I use three different types of white paint. I use your basic bright white, your aged white, and another off-white. Combination, mix and match, different panels to give it a more 3D shadowy effect, and the results have worked out great for me. Here's a little collection of the different sponges, wrapping paper, packing foam, steel wool that we use for our sponge effect and our weathering that we're going to do here. You can also go ahead and use ordinary stuff like sponges from you find around the house. These sponges people use when they take a shower or a bath. Regular scrubber, the Scotch pad part is what I use. Just experiment, have fun. I goofed around with this steel wool part and it has worked out fine for me so far. So it's just an example of things you can use. Here's a couple more paints that I can use for my weathering products. That's Tamiya's XF9 Whole Red and Tamiya's XF84 Dark Iron, which is probably one of my all-time favorite number one paints in terms of painting metal, all types of metal. It's dark iron. It goes on great, shoots fantastic out of the airbrush, never fails, or paint it on with the brush, and it dries super flat, giving whatever you paint that older used metal look. All right, here's some more here's the weathering products we're going to use, or we have been using on the dump bed project here. So we're going with AK Interactive's Dust and Dirt Deposits, AK Interactive's Crusted Rust Deposit. I love this one. It goes on with texture. You can build up on it, and it dries real flat and very realistic. AK Interactive's Rust Streaks, which we're going to use in this little episode. We're also going to use this real quick. Also, AK Interactive's Streaking Grime in Panzer Gray, Streaking Grime for DAC or DAK or Africa Core vehicles. AK Interactive's Streaking Grime. I forgot to move the camera. There we go. Let's go back and do that again. So AK Interactive Streaking Grime for Panzergrenadier vehicles. AK Interactive Streaking Grime for DAC or DAK vehicles, which would be your Africa Core vehicles. AK Interactive Streaking Grime, kind of like a dark brown muddy color. Here's a dark mud, which builds up with texture color, which we used here on the back of our dump to build up the melt texture. And AK Interactive's Earth Effects, which also builds up like muddy texture, and we also use that back here in these parts. So real quick, let's just get straight to the weathering part. So you saw where I had weathered the bottom of this in the video yesterday. There was more rust and weathering to it. We went back and toned that down with the body color. And as you can see, it toned it down without having to repaint it white and start all over again. You can dial it up, you can dial it down, you can dial it forward, you can dial it backwards, you can dial it left, you can dial it right. This type of weathering is fantastic. You almost cannot go wrong. Let me set up the tripod so I can sit down at the workbench with you instead of being here standing up. Give me 1 second. All right, okay, we're ready. So the whole intention yesterday was the whole intention of the whole project is to not heavily saturate this in rust or mud, but rather just cover the tops of the ribs and your frame. I guess these would be stringers and your frame rails on the dump bed. Just hit the tops, maybe add a couple little streaks areas, which is what we're going to do right now. So let's go back real quick for those who missed it yesterday because I had to delete that video. We'll shake our bottle up of crusty rust deposits. I like to get a little piece of sponge, grab some tweezers, and dip that. So you see how it gives you all sorts of variations, and that's what we're looking for. We're not looking to totally repaint this in rust, but rather give it rust spots, random, wild, very realistic rust spots. So let's go back and grab a little bit more paint and let's hit the areas that yesterday we had to go back and so you can see the realistic effect you get. And you know, I'm shooting this live, obviously. You can see how effortlessly, how quick, how random, how realistic just dabbing it with this little sponge thingamajig is. That's why I really wanted to film this part. When I used to watch the armor guys do this, it made me start purchasing plastic AMT kits. It inspired me to get into this part of the hobby I had never been in, and bring the techniques I saw on YouTube and finally, eventually, with this beat up dump bed, put them to practice, so to speak. See that? Now, I think it was this week. GT Classic Plastic put up a video, a quick video, and he had two big rigs he's working on, but he had those things rusted out and weathered so perfectly. If you want to get, if you want to get more into that as far as following this technique, I suggest and I recommend you check out GT Classic Plastics YouTube channel. Check out his, I think it was the latest or the last couple of latest videos, and see what he did with his two big rigs. I believe one was a Ford and the other one was, I don't remember, may have been a Mac. But I fell in love with the Ford. I was just enthralled the way he weathered the daylights out of those. And I'm sure he has his own techniques, which, guy's pretty awesome. I'm sure he would share those with anybody who asked him. All right, we're gonna do something a little different. Let's go ahead and use the same sponge technique, but this time we're gonna use a darker color. Shake that bottle up real good. Now, using the same sponge, there's no reason to change out. I mean, if the colors get mixed up, who cares? That'll give it a nice effect. We are weathering and beating up and rusting a steel dump bed, so maybe that'll be all right. So you see, by pressing hard, you get a more solid blob, and by pressing lightly, this is what you achieve. Remember, tear your sponges, don't cut them with the scissors. The idea is if you tear them apart, you have all those crazy little ridges, which is the effect you're using for. If you just cut it with scissors or something sharp and you get a smooth edge, it ain't gonna work. So let's do this. I say right about here. Right about here. Now there I pressed too hard, but that's fine. I'll take that. And what I did there is I turned the sponge around a different direction. It's a beautiful day. It's Saturday morning. I have the whole day to myself. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna visit some friends, have a good time, enjoy today. I've been under a lot of crazy pressures at work, around the house, just with the tax man, and I mentioned that in the other video. The stress has been unbelievable. Just I have not come into my shop to work on anything since the last time I shot this video. But I had yesterday Friday evening, and I have all day today, and actually tomorrow Sunday, as after I go visit my mom. So so the whole idea was to highlight the tops of the frames and the stringers, and maybe a tiny bit of these panels, these steel panels, these open spaces here, instead of just coating the whole thing in mud and rust. And like I said, by no means am I an expert at this. That's too much. I'll come back and let's use the wet finger method. There you go. Yeah, it's kind of all right. We'll keep that. Now I mentioned that I used a piece of steel wool, just kind of like for a fun experiment. So let's go ahead. We don't even need, let's go ahead and use this fine steel wool that I tore off. Let's go ahead and grab some paint and see what kind of damage we can do. Actually gave us a real pretty nice effect. So you're starting to get an idea, kind of the. I wanted the bottom to match the side of the dump bed. Um, Back here in this part, I got a little bit of white paint on that mud area. We can address, that's real simple. That's a no-brainer. We can come back after I shoot this video with a little bit more mud and we'll build up on that. Uh, let's do the streak and grimes here on the side. So your dump bed's gonna sit like this on the truck. So we want any streaks to run downwards. Think of how would rainwater act. And if you can weather your streaks going down the way rainwater would, you pretty much have gotten it figured out. Just put some right there. Some right there. Bunch back here. And some right here. So we'll let that dry a little bit. This stuff dries really fast. Now we're going to draw. Let's see if we can hit that. Let's do it about right here. All right, we're going to draw these rough streaks downwards. It starts to fade the more you use the mineral spirits to bring it down. Let's see if I got my mineral spirits. Use your odorless AK Interactives white mineral spirits, or you can go to your hobbies. You can go to your professional art store and buy the same thing by the jug for a lot cheaper. I actually have big giant bottles of this. They're off to the side here on the right of me. Well, let me go get one. So you can buy them from your local hobby store, or you can buy them from your local art store. My suggestion is experiment. Even though this might be a little bit more expensive, experiment first. You're going to get hooked right away. And then if you proceed and you want to do it more down your modeling career, go ahead and buy the bigger bottles at your local art store. Pour a little bit in this cap. We put our brush to it. We're going to use two brushes. We're going to use a wide brush and a very narrow brush. Let's see which one works better. We draw off most of that product off the brush. You can see a little bit on my hand there. All right, now let's draw downwards. Clean the brush before you put it back into the white mineral spirits so you don't contaminate your clean mineral spirits. Let's draw down a little bit more. kind of happy with the way that looks there. Let's use the more narrow paintbrush. That looks good, but we can thin it out even more. See that? Remember this area here where I wiped it down with my finger? Let's go ahead and use that to our advantage. Now as this dries, it'll lighten up a little bit more and it dries flat, and then the technique, the results are even more impressive. Let's grab this one down here and bring it down. Now I can lighten that up. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to switch to another brush, a more wider, softer bristle brush. Which one did we say? This one or that one? Let's do this one. See that? Let's go ahead and lighten this one a little bit more. Actually, that looks pretty good right there. I like that. We're gonna keep that right there. So pretty much you're seeing the idea. You can't mess up. It's a lot of fun. I could do this all day, all night. I would love to do it, share with you guys. So I'm going to goof around a little bit more with this. Thank you for joining me for this part one, or part one in reverse of part two, or whatever. eBay got pissed off at me, or not eBay, YouTube. But I got a feeling that all the purple-haired woke kids that got laid off when Elon Musk took over Twitter just went across the street and applied at YouTube, and they all got hired. Now they're running the show. But anyways, we're going to shoot some hairspray right now. I'm going to do a little bit of this on the other side and on the inside frame rails. And then we're gonna go outside and hit it with hair, let it dry for about 20 minutes, hit it with hairspray, and we're gonna start that hairspray technique. We're gonna film that today also here in about an hour or two, and we'll post those videos in the next couple of evenings. Okay, you guys take care, enjoy these videos for what they are. Literally, my videos are an encyclopedia set up on the shelf, or shop manuals, and just pull one out and refer to it whenever you want to see if you want to apply a technique to your builds. And like always, feel free to use my videos, portions of them, or the entire videos for your stuff. You don't have to ask permission. Just go ahead, and by all means, you're more than welcome to. Just remember to throw me a bone, mention my name, the Florentino Rebuilding Company, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And you guys have an amazing weekend. And if I don't talk to you guys till tomorrow, which is Sunday, Mother's Day, May 14th, you guys and your moms have an awesome Mother's Day. Right here from the Florentino Rebuilding Company. Thank you for joining me.